so I'm going to keep my picture down, but I'm here.
Thanks for letting us know, Dr. Dawn, where to come.
There you go.
We're good. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get the meeting started for the Carbon County Animal Shelter Advisory Commission Board. Call to order. These proceedings are being recorded for the purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. The meeting will be in perpetuity on Facebook. Let's have a moment of silence and prayer. Okay, and then let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic from which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll do roll call. So Christina's here, Dr. Dawn is here through Zoom.
Yep.
Peggy is an excused absence today, and then Tawny is here. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna jump down to the correspondence before we do the reorganization, just so there's an understanding and why we're doing that. So for our correspondence, we have the resignation of Miss Terry Lynn Marr received by email on May 22nd. And we just want to thank her for all her good work that she did while she was on the board for the last year and a few months, and everything she implemented. So thank you, Terry. And next, we will be doing the reorganization for chairperson and vice chair. So we will have nominations for chairperson. Do I have a motion from anyone?
I nominate you, Christina.
Okay.
I'll
we have-
second it.
Okay. Commissioner Lukasevich, do we have to do the agree to, or is it just the motions?
You'll have to go ahead and I would do a by name vote. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so then the nominations are closed and voted upon for chairperson.
Mhm.
Who will be Christina Zawakio. Just let me know when if you're good.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just scribbling.
Yeah.
I'll get it. for
Okay,
Peggy.
so then the next nominations will be for vice chair. So
Christina, go ahead and vote on that. So you have a motion, you have a second.
okay,
So call for the vote for the nomination of Christina
Right.
to the position of chair.
okay, and then do we all agree? That's what I should do
Yeah,
next.
yeah,
We all agree on that.
Mhm.
So
So Christina, you'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So the motion has been made. So go
Right.
ahead, you call in for the vote. All those in favor?
okay,
say aye.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say
Nay.
nay.
You're good. The motion passes.
Okay.
right?
Motion
You're-
passes.
No.
Okay, so then for vice chair, do I have a motion for a nominee? I will nominate Tawny. Do we have
And I
a
will
second?
second that.
I agree.
Okay, and then we have nominated Tawny, and do I have, is everyone in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone against? Say nay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now the closing, the nominations for the reorganization of chairman's person and vice chair are closed and voted upon.
Mhm.
Okay, next will be approval of minutes. So did everyone look over the approval of minutes for May's meeting?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything else to say or change or anything else about May's minutes?
No.
Right. And then we do similar where we.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, signify, yep, call for the vote.
All in
Those in
favor, okay.
Yep.
all those in favor of May's minutes,
Mhm.
say aye.
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 And then, all those against say nay. Okay, perfect.
Well, we'd normally say opposed, but against is fine, but
Opposed.
opposed
Okay.
sounds better.
I'm working on the language.
Yeah, that'll take a couple times, Chrissy, you know that.
Okay. I don't think we have, it doesn't look like we have any guest or public comments. Do the commissioners have any comments?
No, we'll just reiterate our appreciation to Terry for her work since she is a founding member of the board, or a founding member of the board. So thank her for her contribution. We look forward at the earliest opportunity to appoint a new member. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so then chairman's comments, I'm gonna say something similar in the fact that I'm looking forward to becoming a stronger board and a unit and to just collaborate together. And that's it for this meeting. Okay, so next we will go through the director's report. Okay, so right now for personal status for positions at the shelter, we have every position filled except for two. Two are open. We have two K-9 officer part-time positions open. And animal status for kennel space is total number of kennels 16. Number of dogs started at the start of the month was 10. Number of dogs end of month was 23. Adoptions 7. Owner surrenders taken was 1. Hold and release to owner was 8. Dogs rehomed instead of being at the shelter was 3. Total number of dogs in care at one time was 29. Police calls was 8. And calls after hours was 9. And then the building report was interior status was, and this means that it was done, correct? On the,
If you say what it is, I'll probably have a good
like
idea.
okay, the front reception area, the screen door.
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, on that one.
Okay, then there it says rear door, exit to yard, replacement door needed. So obviously
That's needed.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and then outstanding work orders was signage for both exterior doors in progress.
Hmm.
And then the financial status, we just want to thank everyone who donates. This month, last month, whenever, we appreciate everyone. And I know the shelter does too, and all the employees and commissioners.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so next is committee reports. Okay, so before we talk about the committee reports, I did want to talk about our work session a little bit. that we did the other night amongst us. We wanted to share that we are doing, even though we don't have to share, we want to share that we are having work sessions. Obviously, we don't vote in them or anything like that. It's not a regular meeting, but we just wanted to tell the public that we are having them. And everything will get rediscussed at a regular meeting. And that's really that, so. So then with the committee reports, the facility upgrade. We wanted to talk about the outdoor kennels. Many are rusted and will be unsafe for the dogs if they don't get fixed. And Tawny, it was your idea, right, to vote?
Yeah, we were talking about the kennel needs 3 outdoor, or the shelter needs 3 outdoor kennels. Some of them are worn and rusted, which is unsafe for the dogs. So we were looking and discussing going to Tractor Supply to see if we get we can get a discount on if we bought kennels more than one. So if we can get 3 kennels, working with Tractor Supply to see what we could do, or bringing it out to the public to earmark like donations that would come into the shelter, earmark it for kennel repairs. Or is that something that the commissioners would put in the budget to allow us to purchase 3 new kennels for Outback?
Well, what my recommendation would be, check and see with Tom or Marie up there, see where they currently stand on their budget to see if there is sufficient money in this year's budget, operating budget, to cover that. And if so, I would then reach out to have Tom reach out or Maria reach out to the purchasing director. And, you know, it would be her ultimate responsibility to reach out to different vendors based upon, you know, the specifications that you have. Doesn't mean you can't do some footwork and talk to Tractor Supply as a potential supplier. I mean, she doesn't have to go to different suppliers. But again, she, you know, the new purchasing director will work to get the best cost that she can for those kennels. But we are going to need some specifications, like I said, talking to Tom and Marie up there and see where they are in regards to funds available. To me, it doesn't sound like a big thing, but again, until we look at the budget. Does that sound good, Tawny?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Tom or Maria and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And I'll give the purchasing director, I'll be talking to her formally on Friday. So I'll give her a heads up that there may be a request coming in from the shelter in regards to that. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank
Yep.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Another point under this is that the shelter needs a new spigot for in the tub. The handle is falling off when giving a dog a bath, plus they can only use to get warm water on full spray, and it scares the dogs. A new spigot is needed where warm water has an adjustable spray speed.
So I would go ahead, that should be a work order into maintenance. Yeah.
And then we have one more item under this committee is the clothesline. The old one is broken and towels are taking a long time to dry. So
And again, work order again.
yeah, work order, yeah.
Yep. Okay. And that's just a standard clothesline that's broken or missing?
Yes, from what I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good. Okay.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to say about that committee at all, Tawny, or Dr. Don?
I'm okay. I
Okay.
think this is everything that we were discussing that we
Yeah.
knew at this time that needs addressing.
Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, the next order of business is under the committee reports, advertising, marketing, and fundraising. we have a few things under this one. So the first one we wanted to talk about was having the yard sale. And we wanted to see if first Tom and the shelter themselves wanted to do it. And if so, to possibly recommend to the commissioners, and how we want to go about that.
I just
And-
want to interject for a moment. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead. I did speak to Tom today.
Oh, okay,
And he is definitely for the yard sale.
okay,
He mentioned about having it maybe like Labor Day, because as we spoke about before, a lot of other people have yard sales, and then when they don't get rid of things, they donate. So they can acquire a bunch of donations that way. So he said, yes, he is in favor of doing that closer to Labor Day, September, end of August. If that is something that we did want to do. So he is definitely in favor of that.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Dr. Dawn. Yeah, and a few reasons we want to do the yard sale, obviously for the shelter itself and obvious reasons, but we also want to do it for a good way for the commission to better form relationships with the staff, volunteers, and community. And we really wanted to be a part of this versus the past where it was just kind of Tom and the shelter that did it. Now we want to be able to really be a part of it and help. Another reason is the community has been asking if they're going to do it again this year. And then if we do decide to do this, and there's a question in what happens if, everything from the yard sale doesn't get donated, we can donate to other local charities and not only help the shelter, but help others also. And then the only other thing we would possibly need for the yard sale would be a mobile storage to store donations, like a pod or pods or something like that. So, yeah. So do we want to vote amongst the board to propose this to the commissioners tonight?
Yes, I make a motion to do so.
Okay,
And I'll second it.
perfect. So all in favor of having the yard sale sometime at the end of the summer, if possible? Who is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed, say nay. Okay. So, Commissioner Lukasevich, will we just send that through as an email like we've done in the past?
Yeah, it would be appropriate for it to come from Tom to
Okay.
Ellie, from Tom to Ellie directly.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Let me ask, did Corinne mention to you that she is moving to another office?
No, not to me. I'm not sure about anyone else.
Okay, so as of Monday, she will be in a different office. So
Okay.
we'll get you all a new point of contact sometime next week.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the next would be, we were talking about as a commission about doing a sticker contest. For last month, we were talking about in the advertising, marketing, and fundraising committee about having a sticker that can go to businesses in business anywhere really, but locally, and any individuals who are for the shelter, and they can have them in and around. And we were thinking about having possibly a logo sticker contest. So anyone could vote in and send in designs, and then kind of do it for a year. Like each year we do a different design and bring the community and public into it. So yeah, we were thinking about doing that to make it more fun and more community filled. So we were gonna, does everyone want to vote on that to recommend to the commissioners tonight?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So do we have a motion to Tawny? Yes. Do we have a second
I'll make
motion?
I'll second it.
And then all in favor, say aye.
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 And then anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, perfect. And then we have the print advertising. We haven't heard anything back from the commissioners, and I wanted to ask if you,
Is this in regard, Christina, to the flyers specifically? Right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the solicitor's response, I'm trying
Yes.
to find that right now to see where his response is, because I do see where it says we're awaiting the solicitor's input. So I'm gonna, as you keep going forward, I'll look into my emails and see if Bob has responded as of this moment yet to that. And if not, I'll put that on my due out list to talk to Bob tomorrow about, to see where it is on his priority list, to be honest, you know?
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
I'll be looking.
Okay, so next is annual budget report. Which is. I don't know what part to say. What part do we say in that? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, normally you would just look through it to see if there's any anomalies or anything
Okay.
that catches your attention. Like in that one, I believe, I don't know, it may have the total of donations to date. I don't know which document you're looking at, but it might have total of donations. Again, I'm not seeing the document, so I'm not sure what's on there.
Okay.
And what we can do, it's not be a problem. I should be, at least one of us should be in person at next month's meeting. We can do a refresher about, you know, kind of what are the important things in that report and stuff like that, just as a refresher.
That would be helpful for me.
Okay, let's do
So-
that. So let's put that on the actual agenda, just kind of a budget refresher, you know?
Perfect,
And
yes,
go ahead and
in
set that up.
August.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, August, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then we are going next into old business. We have the mission moments, which the commission, some of us are interested about having maybe a different name, since Lehigh Valley Humane Society uses the term mission moments. Is anyone on the board interested in changing mission moments? There was possibly happy tales or any other thoughts, if someone wanted to add. I'm personally okay with mission moments, but I don't mind if we want to change it.
Yeah, I'm,
Dr. Dawn, how do you feel?
Is that in regards to talking about positive things of the shelter? Is that what that's in regards to?
No, the mission moments were what we decided last month, and it was about just anything going on, not even at the shelter, just in your day, anything that happened that was positive, and it could be animal related or human related with animals, but it wasn't specifically at the shelter.
Okay, I like the happy tales. That's kind of a cute little phrase.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to change mission moments to happy tales?
I'll make a motion to
Okay,
change it from mission moments to happy tales.
and I'll second it.
okay, perfect. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, perfect. We will change it to Happy Tails then. And then moving forward, we will start that after roll call. We will do, that's what we decided last month. After roll call, we would do Happy Tails. And we'll just say anything that's either happened good up at the shelter or in your everyday life. So we will go with that. Okay. And then, okay, then next will be the mission statements. So the board, Tawny, myself, Dr. Dawn, and Peggy compiled our mission statements. And I will read it out. And this is what we compiled between the four of us. So for the shelter, our mission is to provide a healthy, safe, and caring environment for the loved, lost, and abandoned dogs of Carbon County, Pennsylvania, while working to serve and assist the residents and our local police with canine matters. We are a no-kill shelter with minimal adoption fees, working to find the best match for each dog while ensuring a smooth and timeless transition over to their new and loving family. Every day, the dogs under our care are loved as our own and will be part of our hearts forever. In my opinion, it's a tad long, but we could probably, shorten it a little. My question to you, Commissioner, was last month. Can you explain to me what happened?
Yes, it was called the commissioner process, where
Okay.
three cooks are preparing a meal and you see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
So
it went through a vetting process, a drafting and a comment process. And that's what came out the other end. I would submit yours for, if you need to refine it, refine it. If not, submit it for reconsideration, since, you know, we didn't formally, publish that mission statement that came out our end of the process. So
Okay.
my recommendation would be throw it back at us for consideration.
Okay. So we will, because Tawny, you compiled this, and you compiled from what we had.
Yeah, I just tried breaking it down and shortening sentences and cutting out like redundant sentences or wordings. So we cut it down maybe 20%, but I don't know. Peggy had done some research and it shouldn't exceed over 100 words. I think I cut it down to about 79.
Yeah.
And cut down on the sentences. So we just have to agree on some of the wording and terms, and then we'll submit it for approval.
Yeah, I agree. So should we then put it in motion tonight so then we can do it after because when we redefine it, it's not going to be much different wording wise. So if we put it in motion now, because we won't be meeting until August. Is that an okay to do? Commissioner?
You all can do what you feel is and I would simply, probably make the motion to accept the mission statement as written with forthcoming modifications and, delegating that authority to Tawny or who's ever going to make those, but I don't see a problem with accepting it with modification,
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So really it's almost going to be, because what you guys can actually do though, you could simply send it forward and then ratify it at a later time,
Okay.
So you don't have to make a motion necessarily to approve it. but to forward it, right?
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, so let's make, does anyone make a motion to forward this? This mission statement that we have collaborated together on.
Yeah.
I will make the motion too.
I second it.
Perfect. And then all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
it is great. That'll give us 2 months to look at it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyone opposed, say nay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, the next thing under old business was team building. That's something I brought up last month, and I'm not gonna really touch on that really much anymore until we get a fifth member again. But the yard sale would be a good opportunity to start with that, like I said, when we talked about the yard sale.
I think we're all on board. We all want to help out, pitch in, organize it, whatever we have to do, we'll work it as well. We were all in agreement with that, and that's something that we look forward to doing.
Mhm.
Okay, the next for old business is the discounted adoption for those who serve. There was an idea that we should give Tom vouchers for 50% off adoption to use at his discretion. And then we just needed to figure out amongst us how many a month, how many vouchers we would give, like, or would we get 5 or, depending on how many. And then for whom, which we talked a little bit about last month, but would they be for volunteers, for staff, first responders, veterans? So we need to kind of decide more about that. And I think the vouchers are a good idea. I think that kind of helps like each month, so it doesn't get overwhelming for the staff.
Right.
Plus,
I think
yeah.
Tom can, he interviews the people as they come up there anyway. He's like their main point of contact. So like I said, he's gonna vet them versus somebody calling, because we're gonna have everybody saying they're a first responder, or how do we draw the line on who gets it? So I think if Tom can sit there and have a conversation with the people and they say, okay, well, I work at the local police department, I do this, I do that. It doesn't even have to be police department. It could just be somebody that Tom feels that they deserve 50% off due to their service. I think community service, more or less. If we break it down that way, let him decide on a 50% off adoption, because our adoptions are very, very low to begin with at $100. Getting somebody a dog and a good loving home at a 50% discount, that would be great.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I guess, picking how many vouchers per month, because then you got to times that by 12 for the year. So,
Dr. Dawn, do you have anything to say about the vouchers or for whom?
no, not really. I guess we just have to be careful, kind of how we do it so that we don't offend people because we're picking and choosing versus just saying general. But I understand what you're saying. Everybody can come in with something. So vouchers or even setting specific standards up. And again, we have to also remember, this is not a for-profit shelter, but animals are a big responsibility. We do already have a very low adoption cost. And sometimes it's a way to weed out people who are going to be unable to afford the care of the pets in the future. Because if they get a dog for free, the dog is not free for the rest of its life. So it does help make them think about what they are doing, if that makes any sense. I think it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I definitely think I like the idea of volunteers. And I don't know, maybe we should just start like volunteers who serve. And then go from there and see how it goes. I know that's like very narrow, but I do agree that. You're being very selective and you don't want to upset the public.
Correct.
Especially.
But the volunteers is a great way to narrow that down.
Yeah,
Again, not to be rude, appreciate everything that,
yeah,
you know, first responders and so forth do, but volunteers versus paid is definitely a way to narrow that down. And I think that's a good start.
yeah. So do we as a board want to make the motions to do that? Or do we want to like talk about it more?
I think until we weed it out, maybe we should bring it to the next agenda.
Yeah,
Table it.
we'll
for
table
now.
it, yeah.
Table
Table.
it.
Do it in
Maybe with
August.
one of our side discussions, that we have. We can talk more about it and maybe get more like a,
Yeah.
She's on a Zoom.
I'd be interested too to see what other rescues and shelters do. Like if you just go on their website or something and just see like how, if they, you know, how they pick and choose. And of course, obviously, everyone's gonna be a little bit different,
right.
but just to see like what other people do.
Yeah, we can look more into that. We have,
Yeah.
because we have a break in July, so we
Mhm.
will have until August, and then we'll get more order to it, I should say.
Yeah.
We'll get more order to it and be more specific, because like Dr. Don says, we're not discriminating against anybody. We're just looking as a way to reward an adoption.
Yeah, and we do want to be, like Dr. Don said, and I agree, we want to be very understanding to everyone that served, because we appreciate everyone that serves and we don't want anyone to feel excluded.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll table that. And then talk a little bit more about it and then talk more about it in August. Okay, and then the last thing on old business was the K9 first aid and CPR class, which I looked into a little bit. There is locally a place in the Lehigh Valley that does it. I did call them, but they did not call me back yet. So I'm still waiting on that. I've been looking at more places. There are like national businesses that do it. So they would just come to the shelter and do it. So it just kind of depends. I would prefer local if we could. But I'm waiting back to hear from people. So we'll just have to table that also until I hear more information and learn more about that. Okay, so, the only other old business I wanted, it's not on here, but I wanted to talk real quick, specifically to you, Commissioner, was the Best Friends Partnership. It has been passed. It's all good, everything's good, it made it through. Am I good then, because I'm going to be the representative and the contact for the board for the shelter? Am I good to then do all the information for that?
Yeah, go ahead and move forward and just
Okay.
make sure when you need data at the end of the year, when they do their reports, they ask for the data that you get it from Tom and Marie up there. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, I just wanted to double check while we're on the meeting. All right, great. So then, do we have any new business?
One thing I just wanted to mention again, I know that it was mentioned earlier in the reporting that there are still 2 part-time positions that are open and have been kind of hard to fill with the shelter. There was some discussion, and I don't know how this works, if it would be better to maybe advertise for another full-time, make the 2 part-time a full-time position. It may be easier to fill that versus part-time, because they still are really looking for some help up at the shelter. Again, I don't know if everyone is familiar with how the hours of the shelter are. Sometimes Tom is in at the shelter at 6 a.m. and then he puts his day in, and then sometimes those poor dogs are in their kennel then already at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then unless a part-time person is allowed to be there by themselves, those poor animals are stuck in their shelters then until 6 o'clock the next morning. Where if we would have another full-time position, you could almost do shift work. Somebody does like a morning shift and then somebody does an afternoon shift, just to kind of help allow those dogs to have more out time, walk time, so on and so forth. I know that's something that a lot of people are unaware of, and it's not meant to be harmful to these animals. It's just one person can only do so much. Again, part-time people are there, but they're only there for very limited hours. So it doesn't help as far as expanding those hours. So I didn't know if that's something that needed to be changed, if we could make a recommendation to the commissioners and see if that's something that we could change. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, Tom would have to present a request through Ellie to the salary board requesting abolishment of X number of positions. And then another request would be to create a full-time position for that. Now, there is a significant cost difference, so that's always considered. I'm always, again, a personal opinion is me, it's always a minimum of 2 part-time or a full-time. Now, again, though, understand a full-time is much more expensive because there's anywhere from 35 to $45,000 in benefits that go with that. So, 2 to 1 isn't necessarily dollar for dollar, but that's kind of historically what we have done in many of these conversions. But again, Tom would have to put a request through the commissioners to the salary board.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But I thought that, and you're 100% correct, all the added benefits, but that might help attract people to a position like that versus just part-time. But I completely understand. And it was just a comment. So yes. All right. I will pass that along. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just a heads up. Normally, items like that are an annual salary board issue. Doesn't mean they haven't come up mid-year and that before, but normally they're associated with the annual salary board, which occurs in January. But again, it's not that it hasn't occurred before mid-year, but again, tends to be the focus on doing this with the new fiscal and calendar year.
Okay.
Yep.
So going back to Dr. Don's question regarding a backup for Tom, if we would have 2 part-time positions or eliminate one of those positions and make it full-time, is it possible to get a backup for Tom so that have the appropriate training if Tom was not available to come to the shelter or he has his time in? I know sometimes people want to come up, walk the dogs, get them out of the shelter more, just like Dr. Don said. If his day begins at 6 and ends at 2, would there be potential for somebody else to be trained to allow that to happen while he's not there, just to give him a break and let the dogs out more, or have more supervision with the staff, kind of like a backup director or a manager? Yeah.
Well, a manager would be on top, right? And then that would subordinate Tom and the others to a manager of the shelter, business manager, or manager of the shelter. Again, that position or a position different than those already established would have to be created. So that goes through the entire HR process of writing up a duty description with, key functions, responsibilities, KSAs, education, background, training. That becomes an HR. And again, that is an annual salary board request when you create a new position.
So this is something we need just to look in more and
talk to Tom about.
Right,
it.
and Tom, talk to Tom more, and then also have him reach out.
Yes.
And maybe possibly start getting it rolling. Okay, does
Yeah,
anyone
I
else?
just wanted to put that, I'm sorry, I just wanted to put that out there for some new business. Again, nothing that needs to be decided tonight, obviously, but just what was needed and how that works. And I think it's definitely something we could look into.
Definitely agree, yes.
Does anyone else have any new business? I don't.
I'm good.
Okay. And then further business, I did want to talk a little bit, go back to advertising and marketing. I had an idea. A lot of people do a lot of different rescues, and even all organizations do it, but I got it in the mail of Best Friends and it made me think about it. They do their annual calendars. And I thought that would be cool, along with like the stickers we're doing, which is a little bit different, but it's still marketing and fun, really marketing and advertising. But it would be similar where, like, you know, you do every month is a different animal and all of that. And we could do just the animals at the shelter, or you could do a very similar thing where you do a contest. I know Last Chance Ranch in Quakertown, every year they do, I adopted my one dog there a couple years ago, and they do, for everyone who has adopted an animal from them, they do like an online voting where however much you donate or anything like that, your animal will then get in the yearly calendar. So I just thought it was something that we can talk about. We don't talk about tonight. It was just something else that I thought about, and it would be cool maybe to do next year. So we can talk about it in the next few months and see how we could possibly do that with fundraising and all of that. So that's something.
Yeah, it would be a good idea. You can put our success stories on there, put a picture of each dog that's adopted and which ones are pending adoption, and
Yeah.
get a face out there, and even maybe put some success stories, because I know a lot of the people that have adopted the dogs like to share their success stories and keep everybody up to date on Facebook as to how they're doing. So maybe if, you know, I know we would have to get permission to use their story, permission to use their photo in a calendar. But if that's something that we can do and share success stories and see how happy the pups are afterwards, and even during the shelter. I mean, a lot of dogs are happy once they're outside. Get some photo ops of them and, you know, advertise what we have and who's available for adoption, and get their faces out there to the public.
And then, you know, if it's a hit, you can do it every year, and then, you know,
Yes.
everyone can do it. So we'll just have to, we would have to figure out the fine details about like fundraising, how that all fits in and that. So yeah, we can talk about it more in our work sessions and then in the meetings too. So we'll table it and talk about it more in the future meetings. Okay, any other further business? That's it for me.
I'm good.
And then I guess the only other question I had was, for our next meeting, will we have a new, do you know, Commissioner Lukasevich, will there be a new member, or haven't you guys decided yet?
We haven't even started the process yet of looking.
Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
All right, anything else, Dr. Dawn, for you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, well then, we will not have a meeting July 4th, as it is July 4th holiday. So no meeting for July due to the holiday. And our next meeting will be August 1st, Tuesday, August 1st at 6 p.m. And where will it be located?
44 Susquehanna.
44 Susquehanna, okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So that's it. I adjourn this meeting, and thank you everyone for being here.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.